So, eeny, miny, mo. Let's watch. Let's watch. Yeah.
Since Max wanted to go live and talk about standing on business, and I was right, and look who was right, and I left Faze first, and look at me, 100K viewers, highest off the clout, just proving everything that I said.
This Max was calling Max in the car. And they're like, yo, this Silky, though, he's lazy. Not even knowing Max is on speaker. Silky is right next to Max.
Apparently, I'm this awful, terrible guy, monster.
Wait, what'd he say?
Max had all these issues. Proving everything that I said.
Did Max insult Lacey?
Max was calling Max in the car.
Off the clout, just proving everything that I said.
This Max was calling Max in the car. And they're like, yo, this Silky, though, he's lazy. Not even knowing Max is on speaker. Silky is right next to Max.
Apparently, I'm this awful, terrible guy, monster. Damn. Max had all these issues with.
Max and Banks got in an argument. He calls other Faze members and says, this.
Now, I thought I was gonna have a brief moment of rest in this entire Faze saga, but before I could really even shut my eyes and close my PJs in my robe to give myself a little bit of a break, Faze Banks came out and did his scorched earth attempt about Plaqueboy Max, seemingly exposing him as being some sort of liar, deceiver to his audience, trying to get the community to galvanize some sort of support around him. But I'm gonna be quite honest with you, everything I watched from those videos to those text messages just confirms everything that I've been saying for the past year about the Faze Collective. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way. Us unemployed gotta stick together during this holiday season. Now, back into the content. Now, I know eventually that one of these Faze guys will be the one to pop the top off of everything. When I got called out last year by Ron, Lacey, and Banks, and we had our whole Discord argument, I saw who was reacting, how they were reacting, and what they were saying. And there was one person who kind of just stayed silent, just kind of watched, just, that's tough, etc., but didn't.
I'm assuming Max, right? Max with his crooked hairline, bro. Jason? I feel like it would be Jason, right?
Join in on the dog pile for the most part. That was my good buddy Plaqueboy Max. Since that situation, he took his departure from the Faze Collective, saying that he had mental health issues, he was struggling to find himself, he was burnt out from his 365 challenge, and specifically, well, really unspecifically because he couldn't get into too many details, he didn't have ownership of anything. If you're new to the saga and you haven't tapped in just quite yet, Plaqueboy Max's cousin Fatboy Dip came to the internet exposing how the Faze Collective wanted to charge Plaqueboy Max an insane amount of money for housing.
Gang, you see that little townhouse that Max was in? They tried to make that pay 20 bands a month.
God damn it, bro, I gotta upgrade that shit.
20 bands a month.
Or give a percentage of myself. What the?
What? Now later on in his own stream, Plaqueboy Max would all but verify the claims that his cousin made, and ultimately sprinkling on some more seasonings to the healthy stew that says that Faze Clan was ruined by Faze Banks. Now there's a deeper conversation about how the Faze Collective wanted to come back and recoup a whole bunch of money from them, which we'll get into it at a little bit of a later time. But ultimately just know that Faze Banks was called out by Plaqueboy Max. Now this situation would cause Faze Banks to do a retaliation. And in that retaliation, Faze Banks naturally would go on the defense, saying that, you know, these guys were fake and ungrateful.
I just watched some clips from this Plaqueboy Max stream where he's playing a laugh track over my tweet, and it's like, Max, I know we've had like our individual differences, and I know I haven't really seen eye to eye with a lot of the talent because truthfully and honestly, I find you guys all to be incredibly ungrateful. I find you guys all to have insane egos, and I think it's disgusting and makes me sick to my stomach that your guys' relationships with each other and with every other streamer, and your community included, is so incredibly fake. You guys are the best actors on planet Earth.
Now I go into detail in the live stream that I just did in the previous video, but ultimately that set off the chain.
Wait, hold on, there's a video? They all lied? God damn it, bro. There's another fucking video, man.
That I just did in the previous video, but ultimately that set off the chain reaction. That chain reaction would lead to a scorched earth moment where Plaqueboy Max,
should we watch this, bro?
His cousin Fatboy Dip came back to the internet and revealed even more secrets that would disprove any narratives about this collective organization being genuine, friends, etc., and that there wasn't any sort of nefarious deeds behind the actions that Faze Banks and whoever the ownership group was doing.
This nigga Banks was calling Max in the car, saying like, yo, bro, they were just talking. And they're like, yo, this nigga Silky, though, he's lazy as fuck, Yo, you
that's crazy, bro, talking shit.
Talking crazy shit, not even knowing Max is on speaker. Silky is right next to Max, talking crazy shit about the nigga in Miami, saying this nigga's lazy, I don't know about this nigga. And when he comes back, yo, this is my brother, So So
Nah,
I guess we all
he
fake
fake.
then, nigga.
Guys, I've been waiting for this moment for so
Damn.
long. I don't think people really understand how hard it is to contain the excitement that I have. Last year on the live stream, FaZe Banks said that all of this was genuine. All of this was real. And I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't genuinely or really real talk behind my friend's back or my bro's back. That just seems like somebody who is fake and who is a deceiver to me.
Nah,
He also
facts,
made a
facts.
claim that there weren't financial ties to these guys, which I guess on paper at the time were to be true. But at that moment, I know for a fact that FaZe Banks and the FaZe Collective, I'm talking about the ownership group, were ultimately going to want to seek financial gain from these guys. So it makes a lot of sense why Plaqueboy Max's cousin would talk about this Spotify deal that was secretly and under the table put in for Plaqueboy Max.
Playboy Man's cousin Fatboy Drip reveals corporate Face Clan tried selling Max identity to Spotify for. Yo, 400K to be sold to Spotify is crazy, bro. Yeah, I would have left too. Type shit. Alright, my bad. I just gotta test out some shit. My bad. Yes, these are my sound effects, bro. Chill. Fuck, I needed. Fuck.
In order for, the FaZe Collective to benefit and
I'm
Max
at
not
y'all.
seeing any
Fuck.
money behind it. A conversation about brand deals came up. And for those that don't know, this is where the management companies get a lot of their dollars and cents. That's where they take their 15, 20, 30, 40% of the cut. And when Plaqueboy Max had his room decorated, all of a sudden there was a big Spotify logo in the background. Now, naturally, because these are young kids, they think it looks cool and official. But I know that that's not cool and official like that. What happens is ultimately once
What?
these things get clipped up and repurposed and repackaged, that's an ad that goes across TikTok 40,000 times, not just by the creator themselves, but by all the clip pages, the meme pages, etc., etc.
Okay,
Just
yeah,
a
true,
perpetual ad that will always
not
exist in
wrong.
your background. But somebody has to pay for that perpetual ad. And if somebody has to pay for that perpetual ad, that means somebody has to, make bank off that perpetual ad. But Max wasn't making the bank. It seems that FaZe Banks was making the bank.
That's
Nigga,
not
I'm like,
my
gang,
fault.
you're Plaqueboy Max. You can
I just gotta test something out. My bad, y'all.
get that yourself. And if you want to split it, that's cool. What the fuck? So we end up taking it down. Little dude, we know they're selling his identity without letting him know.
Wow.
And so Max
That's
ends
fucked
up
up.
leaving FaZe. We only knew this because he left FaZe. He got the deal on Spotify. They dropped FaZe and gave it to Max. Guess how much this was for? 400 bands for 5 months, niggas. Niggas about to run up half the ticket off a nigga. Half the ticket off a nigga. Chat, so this makes sense, imagine LeBron James and the Lakers working together, and the Lakers take all the money from a commercial with beats.
Now pay close attention because this is where it really gets
Okay,
interesting.
that's fucked
that
up, that's fucked
sponsor
up.
game and ad game is where like a lot of dollars and cents lies. And once these management companies start to come in, that's where they seem to reap their benefits and rewards. You'll notice that there's a shift in the types of sponsorships that these brands or entities or content creators can bring in, and that's due to the vested interest that these new management companies have. And that's not me just saying this. Fellow FaZe member FaZe Swag even talked about how the
Who the fuck
ads
is
and
this dude?
sponsors just switched up. One day they were getting things like big contracts from Porsche, McDonald's, Xfinity, and the next thing they could only get was 4 logo deals. It didn't make sense.
The boys are at the height of everything. They're back-to-back orgs of the year. Fucking demons. Everybody in FaZe averaging 10, 20K. All the boys are averaging 10, 20K viewers. And then like the best sponsor
Yeah, they're
we could
peak.
grab was 4 Loco. It
makes
was.
sense.
I was sitting there thinking like something's weird. Like I feel like especially with now, the best we can do is 4 Loco, bro. There's 7 people in FaZe averaging 20K viewers. These motherfuckers, they should have been on a cover of cereal boxes.
Yeah.
Like I was sitting there like, wait, there's something's not making sense. Like how the fuck like 2 years ago did we have Porsche and McDonald's?
Hell, even friend of the show TK exposed some messages between him and FaZe or ex-FaZe, your rage, about the money situation and how fucked up it was. Chasing that money trail reveals all secrets. And that's where you get FaZe's majority owner, Matt Kalish, co-founder of DraftKings and CEO of Hardscope, the production management company that's over FaZe. He basically verifies the claims in a Bloomberg article about the unsustainability of the current FaZe structure, but more importantly, the fact that he injected a bunch of money money into them and then ultimately try to recoup it in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Now, he did give the option for them to go independent, but ultimately the deal that they were signing is the deal that Faze members are talking about being a 3.
My bad, y'all. You know, I'm back. You know, new mic. You know, you understand, man. I just gotta. Y'all understand, right? Y'all understand.
60 deal. Now, on one end, I get it. It's a business. You want to make some money. But on the other end, Faze Banks told me, Omar, Omeezy, a year ago, that this wasn't about the money. This wasn't about all this other stuff. This was just about friends coming together and making content. I call bullshit. It was bullshit back then, and it's bullshit now. And the reason why I took you down that little detour is because guess who also is a part of that hard scope acquisition of Faze? That's right, Banks.
Banks was pushed out of Faze by the Faze members, right? And they wanted Kalish to run it. So now there's this thing called Hardscope that now owns Faze, which Banks has a part of. So you still part of Faze. What are you talking about? Niggas is liars, bro. You still are part of Faze because you own Hardscope, nigga.
So simple. So Banks. And in the last part of this live stream by Fatboy Dip was Faze Banks being accused of saying the N-word in reference to Blackboy Max. He called up the other Faze members after he left and said, yo, this nigga is tripping, basically.
When Max left, he called him like, yo, bro, why you leaving? Why you leaving? He was giving all the reason. He's like, yo, bro, the last reason for real was...
I'm not spamming this shit.
He called me a nigga. You know what this response was like? Who said that? Who said that? Who said that? What? And he's like, bro, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I know you said that shit. He's like, bro, I was angry, but keep it a buck, bro. That's not the reason you left Faze. Keep it a buck. Don't put that on me, bro. You know
What?
I'm going through a lot, bro. You know I love you. You're going through
What the fuck is wrong with this
Don't put
dude?
that on me, bro.
Now, in that
What the fuck is wrong with this dude? How you go from saying, well, who is it, then just saying, aye, my bad, it's me. I'm just out of anger and all that. And then you start projecting, gaslight, not gaslight, but start switching topics into... Why you, bro? What?
That short 17-minute live stream, there was a lot of damning evidence
This dude on
about
some
the
bullshit.
other ways that, you know, Faze Banks was a part of the snaking of the Faze members. And just to put the sprinkle on top, he also outlined the fact that Faze Banks called Max a racist slur. Just full stop. Coming from a black man. Calling a black man from a white man, the word nigga is a racist slur. Don't let nobody tell you any different. So between all the internet drama, all the people dogpiling on him, making claims that, you know, you're a deceiver, you're a liar, you're all this, that, and the third, Faze Banks would have a lot to address when he came back to the internet. And you'll never guess what he decided to address and not address in all of it.
As it goes for this word that I said, first of all, I didn't say this targeted toward you. This wasn't said in any sort of racist connotation. I said this word in an emotional response, and I said, fuck all y'all blanks. And it's a fucking mistake, and I'm fucking retarded. I'm a 34-year-old man-child, and I have many, many flaws. And I'm an idiot for saying that.
You see, and this is why I hate y'all black asses on this internet. Y'all have white men justify.
What the fuck is this dude talking about? Yo, is Faze Banks bipolar or something?
The fact that they
Excuse
didn't
some
say
bullshit.
a racist slur in a racist way. God, this shit pisses me off. Yeah, you guessed it. He didn't acknowledge the things about him taking money, him owning a part of Faze, these 360 deals. He didn't acknowledge any of that. Not any substantial way. He acknowledged the fact that, yo, him and Max have been talking. Him saying the N-word actually wasn't really a problem, which is crazy to me. And the fact that Max is bringing up all this stuff right now is because he has some sort of ego, and he's the Travis Scott of the group, and he just wants to be popping and lit and blah, blah, blah. Yo.
Keep it a buck. Y'all think Blackboy Max got an ego?
God, it's so hard to take this man serious.
Because his cousin just went live, and apparently I'm this fucking awful, terrible guy, monster, who Max had all these issues with. But as you'll see, and when I share our conversation, that's not the energy that Max has given me over the...
This dude saying all this with white fucking nails, bro. Like, what type of vibe is you on, bro?
last 5 months. As a matter of fact, and not to spoil anything, but I've talked to Max more in the last 5 months than every other Faze member combined. Max has asked me for opinions on everything from creative to content to his career. He's asked me personally for help.
I call cap on that. I call cap.
He's confided in me
I call
about
cap.
his team sucking and things falling apart. And the big one, since Max wanted to go live and talk about standing on business, and I was right, and look who was right, and I left Faze first, and look at me, 100K viewers, high as fuck off the clout, and the fucking engage, just proving everything that I said 100% right yesterday.
What thing are
The
you
streamer
talking
brain
about?
shit is real. They are actors. And he jumped on this opportunity not because he cares about anything that I've done or cares about anything that I've said. It's because it makes the most sense.
Banks will go on a long
spewing some
monologue
bullshit.
talking about how Blackboy Max constantly hit him up, was actually still friends with him, and didn't actually have these feelings that were, you know, depicted in his cousin's stream. Now, we'll decipher through some text messages here in a second, but I just want you guys to know that he never even addressed any of, you know, the claims about him owning this, him doing that, you know, being not genuine in this conversation, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth. It's funny because when we had that live stream exchange, he was so gung-ho and proud to dispel any narrative about, you know, his knowledge about different things, people taking advantage of these guys, the genuineness of the relationship. But all of a sudden, he is mum's the fucking word. It's amazing to me how quiet he is about the actual facts and stuff that probably matters more than, you know, Blackboy Max texting you and y'all's feelings and this, that, and the third. Did you take advantage of them, Banks? Yes or no? Go react. That's all we want to know. I do want to circle the block back here on this whole N-word saga, because instead of just plainly taking accountability, and I just mean leaving it at a full stop, yeah, I did say that shit and it was wrong, etc., etc. No, Banks doubles, triples, and quadruples down on the deflection game and says, you know, hey, I did say that, but you don't actually care about those things because you would have been brought it up. And in fact, your buddies say it too. And do you care about that?
If you really have a problem with that, then why has it not been a problem for the last 5 months? If you really have a problem with that, why have you told me multiple times I don't have a problem with that, we're good? If you really have a problem with that, and I can say this, Ron, last subathon, fucking said it. Muted his mic and said it, the chat laughed, and everybody told him to say it, and he said it. Lacey has admitted to saying it publicly. You know this. So why?
Is this true? Oh, fuck, fuck. Nah, is this true, though? Like, other Faze members said it? I doubt it, because I feel like I would have seen this show on TikTok, bro. I'd be on TikTok. Like, I'd be on TikTok, you know? I feel like I would have seen this shit by now. Or heard of it at least. So, he lying, bro.
Isn't that a problem? Other members in Faze have said it in the confines, behind the scenes, off cam, in the presence of other black creators and Faze members. And this was never a problem. It's only a problem now because it's convenient for you and for this narrative to make me look like shit and to make you look right.
Damn. That sounds like those cultural differences that I was talking about last year. I really do hate the fact that y'all have these white creators coming on the internet talking about how it's okay to say the N-word in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And these guys said it, and those guys said it, and everything's just comfortable saying. That shit really annoys me. Aiden's whack ass said some comments about it too, and I really can't get behind that shit. That shit is stupid. But nonetheless, Faze Banks would go on after the video to break what a lot of people would consider to be a cardinal sin, releasing text messages that would seemingly show that, you know, Max kind of regrets some of these situations, how, you know, he didn't actually care about the N-word, how they still rock with each other, etc., etc. Max would say, allegedly, like I said, the N-word and...
What the fuck? I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. Yes, everyone, like I fucked this whole shit up. Like I fucked the whole shit. Fuck, man! Okay. Like I fucked this whole shit up, Faze. Everything like, damn. Yo, Max. Wait a minute. Why the fuck is this logo Spider-Man with a do-rag and a chain? Can we address that first of all? Yo. Alright, whatever. I tried to done this before a subathon. Like this before a subathon a couple weeks. But it didn't want me bad. I understand they don't owe me anything, to be honest, but I just know what I offer. And I think everything will go even crazy. But ultimately, this on me. I'm still cool with everybody, though. I show love where I can. But more than anything, I've been messing with you and Ray. I said the N-word and the contract shit threw me off bad. I'm past that, and we don't talk about it. So.
Contract shit threw me off bad, bro, but I'm past that, and we talked about it, so I don't give a fuck. And I get your POV. I do find it weird when black people let white people say the N-word, but I do find it very choice that Banks addressed this in this fashion. And it's also interesting that he
got a 4K camera. I know that.
Keep saying like, yo, these creators keep playing this community.
You don't got a 4K camera, bro.
to galvanize these people, but I can kind of see through this smoke screen dance. Obviously, there would be a bunch of black people, commentators, you know, onlookers, fans, etc., that would get upset finding out that white people are saying the N-word. They would also, though, get upset that there are black people who allow these things. So I believe that Banks is using this as some sort of ammunition to try to turn the guns towards a black boy match.
Like
I'm gonna be honest with you, gang. I'm not gonna get caught in that smoke screen dance. We can address that later. You spent all this energy exposing the DMs of a young man who was going through a mental health crisis, which we talked about earlier in this year in a separate video.
That's crazy,
you spent all
though.
that time exposing those text messages to a community of people to do their own interpretations in an attempt to prove that y'all were in good standing. And I do want this to serve as some sort of like PSA to Black Boy.
Like they say, keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer.
Max or any of the young streamers out there, yo, these people are not your friends. So you confiding in them thinking that they are is only going to hit you back in the face, because the way that this narrative is trying to be painted is the fact that you didn't give a fuck and you made a mistake and you did X, Y, and Z, all while misdirecting us and redirecting us to something totally different from the actual conversation at hand. Now, I do like to acknowledge that Black Boy Max did fire back at him. Black Boy Max says, I joined Faze at 20. I respected Banks. After I left Faze, Banks would call me saying I needed him and my career was falling off. He took advantage of the fact that I was depressed and in the hospital. At one point, I let all the calls get to me and asked to join Faze again. But I kept going, and in November, I was introduced to a manager who helped me realize that a lot of the things he told me were lies. I've since leaving worked with bigger guests and brands and have a 2026 plan that is only even bigger than what I've accomplished so far. Yeah, and that's probably gonna check out because you don't have somebody who is attached to DraftKings pushing for the brands and the sponsorships. Of course, they would do the people that fit best with their program on your platform first. That's just how that goes. Now, naturally, Banks did not like this. He would send his retaliation, more so targeting that retaliation to the fact that, yo, this guy is a liar. The things that he said was not true. He's deceiving everyone. And in fact, he hates his friends. Like, he turned his back on his friends. He fucked them over, etc., etc. And he gave the ultimate, and I do mean ultimate, cardinal sin and placed that onto Black Boy Max, saying that he botted views. But the reason why a lot of this stuff isn't hitting.
Hold on. This kid thinks he's Travis Scott, and it's a shame. It's come to this, lying on dragging someone who's only ever helped you, botting views. It's a joke. It's all ego. He literally just signed his message off as Prince. Seeing who he is, you just won't listen.
That onto Black Boy Max, saying that he botted views. But the reason why a lot of this stuff isn't hitting as hard as FaZe Banks thinks it should be is because of a couple things. One, he has a terrible track record in history as a content creator, as a business person. Like, community-wide, people do not fuck with FaZe Banks. You know, there's some diehards that are still phasing it up out there, but ultimately, there are people who have talked about the crypto.
Banks looking at the rest of FaZe because they didn't want to rug pull. Scam the reviewers.
Those schemes. There are people that talked about the allegations about him and the young girls. There are people who are starting to peel back the
Young
layers
girls.
on the onion that is FaZe Banks, and boy, it is starting to stink up. And number two, if you're about to expose the fact that Max had bots, you're gonna have to expose the fact that a lot of these guys, specifically all the FaZe guys, had bots because they would get those bots from their management company. And guess who their management company is? You, dummy!
You at the bots, bitch! That's what you do! You're a background character talking like you fucking Beyonce. Nigga, you the fuck, yo, bro. Yo, this is Destiny Child. Get your ass in a back. Nigga, all the black men and all the one Jewish man and the one fat nigga and the one Asian nigga made you.
The reason why Banks isn't going into a lot of details
Yo,
and
Bruce
trying
be
to
saying
do these
random
personal
shit, bro.
attacks on Black Boy Max is because every time he speaks, he pokes holes in an argument that'll be favorable for him. He's the problem. Like, let's not get that twisted. Let's not get that misconstrued. Like, he is actively the problem in all these situations. And I'm so glad that people are starting to wake up to the fact that he came and he bullied me too. Max, I'm on your side. He bullied me too, gang. He bullied me too, but I'm glad we can sit on the same side together and really acknowledge that he's the problem. Max clapped back with a closing argument about him not being a liar and how this narrative isn't sticking like Banks thought it would.
Not a liar. I just went against you and stood for myself. and you aren't okay with that, so now you are crashing and using any narrative you think you can cling on to try and destroy a young, chasing his dreams. Sad, Ricky, sad. To the right is to the right is texts Ricky sent my. Oh, okay, he sent like other stuff. To the right is text Ricky sent. Is the text Ricky sent my aunt. What's changed since then, Ricky? Nothing except that you no longer have control over me. Happy holidays. Signed by Prince.
Because
Nah, changing your name to naming yourself Prince is kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. That's like kind of ego. I'm not even gonna lie.
to be quite honest with you, it kind of isn't.
You feel
Now,
like
granted, a business had to
like
be
Michael
done,
Jackson,
but
bro.
you didn't do it genuinely, like you said you did. And now you're attacking Max while simultaneously sending messages to his aunt
I'm not
about
reading
how
this,
he's
bro.
one of the best kids out there. I don't know. I don't know. By the time this video gets out, the other guys will have had spoken about what's going on. They're supposed to be doing a live stream very soon together, collectively, maybe separately, but like collectively at the same time. And I'm curious as to what they say when they finally speak out. I think that they'll address a lot of these issues. I think that some of these things they'll avoid because legally they can't. But what I will say is, again, my live stream is open for you guys. I am willing to sit down and have those conversations because I need to know why FaZe Banks lied to me.
I used to hit that.
It was
Hey,
a
Drewski.
huge turnout in Brooklyn.
Drewski, get the fuck out of my face. Get the fuck
Since
out of my
Max
face.
wanted to go
Get
live.
the fuck out. That video, man. David. Nah, bro, I'm not gonna lie. I always felt something about FaZe Banks. Like, I always felt something about him was off. By just the way he acted and, you know, talked on streams. Just in general, I just never liked him. Even back then, like, when he was, you know, they had a prime of, like, older FaZe members, you know. The old FaZe. I just never liked the dude. I always thought of him as weird. Back then, I pushed it a little more to the side. And just thought, you know, maybe it's just, you know, it's just me, right? But, damn, dude is fucked up. I could already see Adapt live while that FaZe Clan. Your Rage 2. There's probably maybe a Jason and, a Lacey vid on, maybe, who knows. But, bro, I just never liked this dude, bro. He just gave off weird energy, bro. I mean, thank God, yeah. Thank God this dude is broke. He said he's in like millionaire debt and something.